Unus annus. 1 year. The amount of time that a YouTube channel created by Markiplier, Fishbach, and Ethan Eve Nestor existed. And it was interesting, to say the least. Peace, Anna. That's all you need to know. But that brings up an interesting point. What was it that made Unus Annus so compelling to so many people? So much so that over 1.5 million people showed up to watch the channel's final moments. That's what I want to unpack. So let's get started. Part 1. FOMO. FOMO, or the fear of missing out, is a basic human fear of losing a potentially life-changing experience. In certain contexts, FOMO has actually been scientifically proven to cause people to lose sleep and actually experience, quote, psychosomatic symptoms. Which I'm sure catching up on 300 plus videos for people who found the channel in its final weeks was pretty stressful. Not that I can relate or anything, I was there since the beginning. I mean, I fell off the wagon around April, but I was there for the first few months, and then I got back into it in like August, so I only had to catch up on like 3 months worth of content as opposed to the whole year. But I was there. But this isn't like, oh my god, I'm wasting my youth FOMO. This is more like, this is my once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to experience this weird thing as it happens FOMO. Unus Annus is basically artificial scarcity, the YouTube channel. But I'm not saying that in the same way that like the amiibo shortages were artificial scarcity. Like, do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember how grown adults would pay like hundreds of dollars just to have that sick gamer shelf with all the amiibos on it? It's wild. Anyways, don't mind me. I'm still constantly on the lookout for that 3-foot-tall Han Solo doll that I slept on when it was like $30 and now everyone's selling it for like $100. Mark and Ethan were completely upfront. It's not like they sprung this on viewers halfway through the channel's lifespan. The limited edition nature of the channel was baked into the channel's content from the very beginning. Its expiration date was always public knowledge. Unus Annus turned into this weird exercise of whether or not people would actually buy a product, in this case the videos, not so much the merch, although yes, I did pay $15 for a pair of socks, partially because of this, knowing full well the marketing ploy behind it. And it worked. The scarcity, the future deletion of the channel fueled that desire to see every single video and see it multiple times before it was gone forever. Or, you know, deleted. Hi, re-upload channels. I watched the Bodhi video like 10 times because I knew it would be gone and it hit the funny little serotonin button in my brain like absolutely nothing else was at the time. Which brings me to part 2, the content. Unus Annus's content was something. I know it would be fair play for the channel to include clips, but I honestly think it's funnier to either describe them or recreate them myself. I'm not recreating Peace Anna, though. Unus Annus deserved to die. But Peace Anna aside, Unus Annus's content really wasn't anything that special. I mean that in a loving way, of course. I laughed harder at most of those videos than anything else in 2020, but even the more high-effort videos like Hunting He-Who weren't anything particularly different or unique, even for Mark and Ethan. The channel also didn't have a real ongoing storyline. I mean, people tried to project storylines onto the channel and make Unus and Annus into egos or whatever it is Mark calls his funny little characters, and there was that whole Sunu Sana... It's Unus Annus backwards channel that I'm pretty sure was just a fan hoax because it went absolutely nowhere. Oh, and then there was all that speculation that the channel wasn't actually going to end on November 13th and that they were going to use the live stream to announce some sort of longer term plan. Like, what if Unus Annus isn't actually dead? What if it's just chilling on the sun, dude, eating Subway? I'm actually really glad Unus Annus never really committed to having, like, lore, One, because Mark has already stated that literally any kind of lore he creates, he makes up on the spot. So, like, it would have been this nightmare time of people trying to ascribe meaning to peace, Anna. Do you really want to try and give meaning to peace, Anna? The meaning of peace, Anna, is that life is suffering, and we need to stop trying to apply meaning to it for our own sakes. So what was the appeal? Just that the content would be gone in a year? That it was Mark and Ethan hanging out when people already liked their chemistry? That it was a consistent daily upload? I'd argue it was all of the above. People already love Mark and Ethan's dynamic, and most of Unus Annus was already just Markiplier Makes without Tyler. Their personalities work well off of each other, and combine that with the established FOMO, it was a recipe for success. Like I said before, Unus Annus made me laugh in a year where laughter was scarce, to say the least. And it didn't even come from particularly unique videos. Like, one of my favorites was just the stupid VR exploration video.
So I attempted to recreate the virtual reality video, but it really didn't turn out. However, in the spirit of unus annus, I'm leaving it in anyways. Also, I almost died climbing up and down that hill on wet leaves, so like I'm not going to use it.
You know, it's an analogy for life. You die, you're reborn. Where are you? What kind of ass ADHD do you have? But it had to be more than that. Just losing some funny videos I don't personally think would be enough to warrant the sheer wave of emotions that I saw from people, especially in the final hours of the channel. Yes, I cried when they got in the casket. You did too. So why is that? Part 3, Memento Mori. Unus Annus was, at its core, about the acceptance that everything will die. It's baked into the branding. That's already a heavy topic, but the channel also really struck a chord with a lot of people when it came to being creative. The amount of energy it must have taken to come up with fun, unique ideas for each video, even if they weren't that complicated or didn't perfectly land, had to be incredibly difficult. Mark and Ethan have already been extremely open with how draining that was on them, especially dealing with the pandemic on top of that. But Unus Annus also spoke to the desperate need for us to make stuff. I made one video last year because I was so burnt out, and I felt really terrible for it. I wanted to make things, and I did on a smaller scale, but Unus Annus really did awaken something in me, especially in the last month or so of its existence. I'm actually kind of working on my own personal Unus Annus experiment kind of thing, where I work on one little thing every day for myself. It doesn't have to be a lot, it can be one sentence in a work in progress or something, but literally, I have to do something creative for myself one day, every day, for the next year. Unus Annus's fixation on death reminds us that the clock is ticking. And Unus Annus's clock ran out, but ours hasn't yet. We still have time to make, to love, to feel. A silly little YouTube channel inspired me and a lot of other people I've seen to make their own stuff. To take the time out of their hectic schedules and create something for themselves. The channel that was so bodily fluid-centric did that. And it did it without any real driving narrative in a pandemic, no less. Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. But that's not a morbid defeatist thing. That's remember death so you'll remember to live. That's the sentiment that creates an entire community. That's a sentiment that brings millions of people together. Mark, Ethan, Amy, Evan, everyone else who made Unus Annus possible, thank you. You made an irreplaceable experience that was genuinely inspiring. I'm grateful that I was there from the beginning until the end. Even if you did traumatize me with piss content. Am I getting a little emotional? Yeah, I hate that, but it's okay though. I cried on my kitchen floor yesterday. For what reason? Nothing that matters to you. In summary, unus annus was a deeply meaningful experience for me and a lot of other people. It was the right thing at the right time, and I'm excited to see what new works that it inspires. Whether there's a scientific explanation behind the channel or it's something more emotional, I'm grateful that I was there. Let's play a game called I Came Out Here to get footage, and now I think I might be stuck on top of a mountain, and I might not even use the footage I got. I feel real proud of myself.